When it comes to, I suppose, recent economic news, it seems that unemployment is the highest that it has been for some time. So statistically recognising that a few people listening to this program at the moment will be out of work and struggling to find it. This is the unfortunate reality that we find ourselves in at the moment. Joining me on the program from cv.co.nz, Tom O'Neill. Tom, kia ora, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Kia ora, my friend. Great to be back.
It is a tough season for people who are out of work and looking for work, a tough time to be on the job hunt at the moment. And honestly, it can be a bit demoralising and, you know, you're wanting to kind of push through and get a job as quick as you can. What's your thoughts on how much help to get from government departments? Is it giving up to say, while I'm looking for work, I'm going to accept, for example, the job seeker benefit? What's your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of it's generational. I know growing up, my mum basically said, O'Neills don't go on the unemployment benefit. You know, we work, you know, and you're like, oh, hey. And that was sort of the approach. And we're all pretty much entrepreneurs, self-employed. So, you know, you're pretty much always unemployed all the time. And at least you got something. So, you know, that's how many people have that sort of focus, particularly older people. These days, though, I would see it personally myself. End of the day, you paid your taxes, right? Yeah. That's why we pay our taxes, to help our country. If we're at a position where we need help from our country, put your hand up. Yeah. There should be no stigma, you know, no sort of, oh no, you know, I'm on the dole. Yep. You know, that's why you pay your taxes, to get it back.
I mean, that's good in theory, but I mean, from a CV point of view, is it a black mark for a potential employer if you're on job seeker benefit for a while? If there's, I mean, it's those almost fatal blank spaces in the CV. If you're preparing your CV together, would you put on your CV, I was on job seeker benefit for 6 months to fill that gap, or would you leave it out altogether?
Look, to be honest, just leave it out. I mean, one thing you can do is, instead of putting, July 2023 to, November 2024, and then, February 2025, suddenly there's a gap. Yeah. Personally, I just put 2022 to 2024, or if you're working through until January 2022 to 2025, and then when you start your new job, 2025 to present. Yeah. It's a brochure. Your CV's a brochure. It's not a disclaimer. And so, we've got to find that balance. We want to sell ourselves honestly, ethically, and with truth. At the same time, we don't need to spell everything out. Yeah. We can talk about that at the interview if required, if we feel guilty about it.
If it comes up in the conversation, front foot it, but you don't necessarily need to put it on the front page of the brochure. Is that what you're saying?
100%. If it comes up, own it. Own it. Yep, took some time out. Then Christmas came, so it was November. Then we hit the Christmas break. And then, got back into the job hunt early January, and, here I am, sort of thing, Recruiters will understand that, things slow down around December, January. So, yeah.
The other aspect of it, and I know some people are concerned about this, where they go, you know what, if I go on the unemployment benefit, or what is now known as the job seeker benefit, I'm a bit worried that I won't be so hungry for the chase anymore. I don't want to get stuck there. It may be a temporary thing whilst I'm looking for work, but we don't want to get into that space where we go, you know what, I've adjusted my lifestyle to be able to live on the job seeker benefit. Now, of course, the government doesn't want us to stay on the dole forever either. But I know some people may be worried that if that actually not having any money drives them in the chase towards seeking a job. If they're on the benefit, that safety net can get a little bit like a hammock. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, 100%. Great point. I think if you're thinking that, you're a sort of person who won't be doing that. Okay. So if that's your thought, great, because that's not going to be your issue. You're obviously a person who wants to get out there, wants to make stuff happen, wants to advance in their career. By default, don't get me wrong, waking up on Monday and not necessarily freaking out is a wonderful thing. However, if you've got that ethos, it's going to be only a matter of time until you want to jump back. So that shouldn't be a concern for most people.
And hey, in theory, at least, and I know this has been the case for many people. There are government departments whose job it is to help you to find a job, to come alongside and coach and to help you with your CV or to help boost your confidence or plug any holes in your employability, as it were. As you say, we're taxpayers. That's worth tapping into.
Absolutely. That's why they're there. That is their job, to help us in these times. So grab it with both hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. One other thing I just wanted to touch on, because there may be people in this space who are saying, you know what, I used to have a job and it was here and it was at this level and this was the salary I was getting. That's the sort of job that I'm looking for. In these difficult economic times, when it is more difficult to get perhaps the ideal job or the sort of job that we used to do, is there a good case for saying, you know what, let's just do something now whilst we're waiting for something longer term? 100%.
At the end of the day, it's about making sure that we've got really two levels.
Okay.
Level one is our normal career level. We focus. Level two is really more around, keep the wolf from the door.
Okay.
Keep the money coming in. So in that context, I'd be really focusing on. This happened to me. I was an HR management consultant. Yay!
Yep.
Out there doing the job, finished the contract, couldn't find work. Horrific. Particularly as a specialist in job hunting, little things. And then this is when I was in my 20s, and so I ended up doing temping work.
Okay.
And had some great experiences and had some horrible experiences, but managed to pay my rent, paid my mortgage, and I was waiting for that yes to get back into my trade. 6 months later, that yes came, and away I went.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't fun. It wasn't enjoyable. Was I batting underneath, lower in the level than I should professionally? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was I getting money in to pay for everything and, keep me going? Yes. So, for me, that was a route I took.
And again, no shame for that being on the CV. You can be honest and upfront about it if it comes to the interview. But if this is the work that you are doing in between what is your main career, then no problems with it being on the CV.
And also, over time, it'll drop off.
Yeah.
For obviously there was 6 months employment where I was temping here and temping there and blah, 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 blah. 5-6 years later, that whole section just dropped out of my CV. So it's not a permanent thing, 3-4 years later, you could look to sort of drop it out depending on your experience.
Yeah, no, very good wisdom and advice as always. Tom, thank you so much for the work that you do. Of course, cv.co.nz for more information, wisdom and advice on this topic, especially if this is something that you are struggling to find work or struggling to get the role that you want at the moment, cv.co.nz. Tom, thanks so much for joining us today.
A real pleasure. God bless.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.